Hey, welcome to the Glasspaint module, and a couple of ways we're going to explore this today. One I'll do a little bit on, the other one I'm not going to do anything except show you the finished products, because painting is painting. It's just a matter of using the glass paint, coming up with ideas, and I'm going to show you some of those right now. Here's a tall vase. We're going to show you 4 different vases. This is a tall one. I did it in purples. It's got a silver rim on it, both inside and out. Bottom part is done as well. That's one. This is a larger weird vase. I don't remember when I did this one. It's been a while ago. I think it was like 2 years ago I did this one. I use this one around the house myself. I like it so much. Now, you remember when we were talking about some of the 3D paints where I took a lot of metallic paint and did really heavy on butcher paper and then let it dry and you could peel it off and do different things, stick it down on things. The next two, it's exactly what I did. Now on this one, you can see that it has the dark colors on it, the copper and whatever. Get it in real close so you can see it. There we go. You can see the appliques on it. What I did was I painted it first. If you look inside, you can see them a little bit better. I painted it first, and then I went back and put the appliques on. I made a template for the pieces that are coming down it on here, and cut them all out and stuck them on. So that's one. The last one is a square vase. This is also mine. I keep this one. I use it as well. It's got the same thing. It's got appliques on it, but they're strips, as you can see, and I use a little bit of glitter on this one as well. It just kind of makes it look nice, I think. Anyway, that's the vases. And I'm going to go in and show you. I got to put these away someplace where they're not going to get broken. So kind of pardon me for a minute while I lay these down on the ground. Doing the sun catchers are just really nothing more than a small window. And there's a lot of different ways of doing those as well. And I'm going to show you a couple, show you one that I finished here, except for the paint. This is one that I did. It's a cross. Bring it back a little bit so you can see it. There we go. It hasn't been, the frame hasn't been painted yet, and I'll show you how to do frames and all of that. Holes are drilled into it. So I'm going to set that one aside for the time being. Now, how do we make these things? Well, there's a lot of different ways of doing it. I use plastic. I don't use glass. What I do is I cut the plastic to the size I want it, and then I put a border around it, and I use 1 inch. I've used 3/4, but you don't want to go much smaller than that. And then you take the once you have the, like this one, once you have the borders measured on it, you can see the border there. I then take the, measure how much space I have in here, and then I size the artwork on my computer, and I print it out and I glue it to the back. I just tape it to the back so that I can take it off. Now, the frames. What do I use for the frames? Well, I use wood. That same wood that I use for the magnets and everything else, and I cut it in strips like this. There's a longer one. 1 inch is wide, and then measure them to the size that they have to go. What I usually do is just take it like this, measure it to the plastic, and then draw the line on it so I know exactly the size it needs to be. Okay? Very simple. Now, from there, then you cut these, and then you have to glue them onto. I've got a whole bunch of them that are in different stages of being produced. Then we have one over here, that I've already glued the frame to, and it's got clamps on it right now. You're going to need these clamps, a lot of clamps. And this one's already dry, so I can take these off of here now. But I wanted to leave them on to show you. So these all come off. One other thing that you have to think about too is, you'll notice on here, if I can get it in close enough, you can see that there's glue sticking out the sides of it. What you do is you can just run your finger down it and it'll all peel right off. Or if you don't have a lot of it, I wouldn't worry about it because you can put the plastic wood right over the top of it. Doesn't matter, okay? Now, before you put the way I do it is before I put the frame on them, I actually go in and I put like as you can see on these that one I just showed you. Let me get these out of the way. The one I just showed you here, you go ahead and put the liquid lead on, liquid vinyl. It's all the same thing. Take these off so you can see it. And there it is. It's already done. Right? So once you get that part done, now you can go ahead and put the frame on it. Now, as far as drawing this on there, the liquid lead comes with a very large nipple on it, like that, okay? And it will give you a very, very wide line. So what I do is I take a nipple, or whatever you want to call it, off of a bottle like this and put it on the liquid lead. They screw right on. All these things have standard openings and threads, and it's got a much, much smaller tip on it. And this is what I use to do it with, okay? Now, I use a bigger bottle. I use the full bottle like this. But you can also, if you want to, this one also has liquid lead in it. The only thing with this one is it's kind of watered down a little bit, so to cover large areas. If you're going to have a lot of black on it somewhere, and it works the same way. Take the top off, and there's the nipple. Okay. They're pretty simple. Not a whole lot to it. Then you just draw along it. You just draw along the outlines and then peel off the back and you're done, okay? I'm gonna take a break here for a minute. I got something I've got to do, and I'll be right back. Okay, I had an important phone call I had to take care of. Now, I think where I left off was showing you these. Now, there's a way that I get the plastic that, if you go online, you'll find a lot of times that it's kind of hard. I mean, it's not cheap. It's pretty expensive considering what it is. There's several here that I've done. And they still had the paper on the back. I haven't finished them yet. Here's an abstract. Here are some flowers and a thing like that. Those are done. As far as that goes, to that point. I have another abstract here. This is the one that had the clamps on it. It's hard to see, but you can get some idea of what it is. That's the cross. There's another little abstract that's just circles. Kind of hard to see again. Let me put something behind it so you can see it a little bit better. There we go. And I have, this one doesn't have holes drilled in it yet. We're going to drill holes in this one. And I'm not going to really drill them, but I'm going to tell you how to do it. And we have another one here that's got holes drilled into it. It's an abstract. I find that the abstracts actually sell a lot better. I don't know why, but they do. I guess because they can decide what they want fits for decor a little bit better than a hummingbird or a cross or whatever. And then another abstract here. And these all have the holes drilled into them. This one actually goes this way. Anyway, that's that. Okay, now, put these away. We'll take a look at the paints and what's all involved in that. Set this aside. Put this one aside. Put this back over here. And we're going to do a little bit of work on this one. This is one of the abstracts. One thing that you've got to do to make sure is you've got to clean off the plastic I was going to tell you about the plastic where I get it, but you want to clean all the dust off of them. Okay, I'm going to set that there for the time being. Now, as I was saying about the plastic, it's polycarbonate. The way that I do it is I go down, if you go online to like Office Depot, Office Max, any place that sells office supplies that's a decent sized store will have these. And what they really are is the little things to hang, and they put sheets in them. You've seen the kind that stand up. You see them in stores that have a piece of paper slid in there. Well, you buy the ones that hang. They have holes in them. This one here actually has holes in it. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's little holes in there. Okay, there's a hole in there. And what this was it was doubled. It had a double on it, and it came up to one part of it. Well, all you have to do is take them and then pull it apart, and it'll snap where it's been folded. And then all you have to do is take a straight edge in a box cutter, score it, and then pop it off. And you get a nice clean piece like this, okay? That's where I get them. And you can buy a pack of 2 sometimes for like $5, $6, $7. And to get a regular sheet of polycarbonate that you find online a lot of times will cost that much for one sheet. And this way you get 2. So that's what I do. Now, I wanted to go back and talk a little bit about the vases, where you buy vases. I go to Goodwill, Savers, any of these secondhand stores, and I buy them there. And you can get them dirt cheap. I mean, I've gotten, like those vases that you saw, I don't think I paid more than $1 for any one of those vases. Especially if you go in there and you buy 4 or 5, you say, I'll give you $1 a piece for them. They're going to say, okay. And that's how I do it. I want to save all the money I can because it just increases the profit. Okay. Now, as far as the liquid lead, remember, this is gallery glass, and it's made by Plaid. So this is what they call the liquid lead, simulated liquid lead. That's all I use. I use all strictly Plaid products. This is some of their glass paint. It's also made by Plaid. It comes in about 14, 15 different colors. And I've got a whole box of it here. Here's a whole big box of it that we're going to use. Blues, greens, yellows, oranges, reds, purples, whatever. Okay, I'm going to shut this off, turn it around onto the thing so you can see how to do some of this. I'm not going to do the whole thing because I still haven't put the plastic wood onto the frame yet, and you do that before you paint normally, okay? But I want to show that. I'm not going to go into the plastic. On this one here, the plastic wood, you notice there's no holes drilled in it. I used to drill the holes first before I put the liquid lead or put the plastic wood on, but the problem is you get really rough holes. Now on this one, if you'll notice, the hole is very, very, very smooth there, okay, on both sides. There's no little bits of flakes or anything. They're very smooth. So then I started doing it this way, and this is really the good way to do it, okay? Now, I'm going to stop it. I'm going to get down here onto the piece here, and we're going to do a little bit of painting, and that'll be it. And I'm going to show you a couple other samples that I've done in the past. Okay, a little change in plans. I'm going to show you some other samples that I've done, some other ones that I finished just in the last week or so. This one's got a gold frame, and it's a rose. That's one. Here is one that I did. This one is already sold. I haven't spray painted it. Haven't sprayed it yet. This one has got a texture on the. I don't know if you can really see it too well, but there you go. This one's textured paint. And all of these when they're done, you spray them with the automotive clear coat because you don't want the colors to fade at all, ever. Here's a heart. And another abstract that's done. Looks like that. Okay. Anyway, that's those. Okay. Now, you don't have to put frames on these if you don't want to. The only thing that you have to do is drill the holes. Okay? And when I sell them, I also sell them, I usually put a fish line on them, double fish line, that's a 100-pound test. And I make it so that they can easily remove it. If they want to use a chain, they can put their own thing on there, but I like the fish line because it's virtually invisible. And then you give them the little suction cup hanger to hang it in the glass in the window, okay? Okay, so now that I've done that, We're going to go back over here, put it onto the table, and show you the paint, doing the painting and how to do that. There's several ways to do it. One, you can just put a little bit on, you can brush it, or you can actually fill in the whole area with the glass paint. If you do that, it takes a lot longer to dry. Okay? We put it over here and we'll get busy. And let's go this way. Turn that around, bring it down so we can see what's going on. Pull this in a little bit, like that. Okay, now we're going to have some sunlight on here because, like I say, I'm outdoors. This is my only workspace now. Get this thing and get this on the right side. Okay, that takes care of that part of it. Now, what we're going to do on the first one here, we're going to do little small areas. We're going to fill it in completely. We're going to use a brush like this. Here's the gallery glass paint. This one we're going to fill in completely. Pretty easy to do. I want to make sure I've got this exactly where you can see it all. Yeah. Now we're just going to start up here at the top, or in a corner. Fill that in. Come around like this. Fill that one in. Come around here like that, and one like that. Put a little bit more right there. Okay. And we take the brush and we move it up. You have to put it up against the yellow, or up against the liquid lead. If you don't, it will separate. It'll pull away from it. Then you'll have a little gap. And you dab, you don't brush when you're doing it this way. Okay? And you don't stroke the brush, you dab it. Okay, like that. Now, let's say that you want to make a little bit different colors in it too, which we will do right here on that area of it. Wash the brush, dab it off. And let's take a little bit of the red. This is ruby red. And we're going to put a little streak right down the middle of it. Just like that. Okay? Now you can mix that in, or however you want to do it. Like that. Remember, this is all going to dry clear. Get some more yellow in there. May turn a little bit orange. And we'll put a little bit more yellow on it, right in the middle. Like that. And then cover in the little spots. And there we go. Okay, now that's one technique. Cover this back up before it dries. This stuff can dry pretty fast. At least it gets a film on it. Once it gets a film on it, you're screwed. So now, another thing too that you have to worry about are big bubbles. I don't worry about the small bubbles. I kind of like the effect that the small bubbles do. It gives it the primitive stained glass look. If you've ever been to Europe, which I have many times, I used to live there, I went to school there. If you go into some of the castles and that, and you look at the really old stained glass, I mean the really old, you can actually see bubbles in it, and that's the very primitive type. Okay, what we got here, royal blue. I don't want to use that one yet. I want to use turquoise. I got turquoise in here somewhere. I just got to find it. Where is it? That's brown, don't want that. Yellow, green, purple, brown, tan, blue, blue, purple, lilac. That's morning glory. That's a bluish purple. Come on, turquoise is in here somewhere. I know because I just put it in there. Oh, come on. Oh, there, I think, nope, that's green. Now, you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to probably just use green. Because I can't find it. That's another green. That's emerald green. Blue. Aqua. Turquoise. There it is. Okay. Here's turquoise. Gallery glass. Plaid. Now, we're going to go down here on this one, and we're going to do it in this little area right here. Okay. This one we're going to use a different brush. I'm just going to put a little bit like that in it. Close it up. And we're going to use a wider brush. What we have here is a very small fan brush, okay? Like that. Now we just go in here and we dab again. Until we get it the way we want it. Push it up against the sides. Make sure we get it in all the areas. There's a turntable I have down below, but because I don't have enough room right now to use it and show everything that I need to show, I'm not using it. Normally I would use a turntable on this when I'm actually making them. Now you can go in here and you can do this. There's a lot of different ways. You can do this. Do it that way. Like that. Okay. Wash the brush. Put that back. Turquoise goes back. There's all I can say. It's just experiment. Just play with it. Now, when you're doing these, there's a good thing to have are Q-tips, because Q-tips, you can use them as an eraser, essentially, and it will work also on the liquid lead. You'll notice that right in here I have a little bit of paint that dripped over. All you do is just take the Q-tip, run it across there, and it's gone. Okay, now it's on here, throw it away. Makes for a really good eraser. These are all things you learn just by playing with it and messing around with it and doing it and whatever. Okay, now let's get a purple. There's got to be a purple one in here somewhere. What is this? Magenta rose. Can use that. There's a purple. I'm looking for a darker one. I've got a dark purple in here somewhere. At least I thought I did. Maybe I didn't bring it out. No, I don't guess I did. Oh, there it is. And we'll use the lavender and the rose, magenta. Okay, this is berry, that's a dark red, like maroon. Okay, so now we got the purple. We're going to do a lot of brush work on this one. No, I'm not going to put a lot on each of any of them on there. We want to mix these kind of together. Some of that. And some of that. Now I want a bigger brush. We use this one. This brush is one that I made myself, essentially. It was a fan brush at one time. Now it looks like that. Bring it up here a little bit closer so you can see it. And I use that because it'll put strips and stripes in it, as you'll see here. And we just go ahead and just mix this one all together. Get the air bubbles out. The big ones anyway. There's a little place that needs more. Okay, like that. And you just keep going like that. Finish the whole thing. I'm not going to sit here and paint the whole thing. I've shown you about 2 or 3 different techniques to do this. if you're going to use a brush, let's do one more, but I'll show you the difference. We'll go ahead and use this one. Put it up here. Okay. Now, if you're going to just use a very thin coat, what you have to remember is that you're going to have to go back in if you want to make it a little bit more, a little bit denser color or more saturated color. You've got to go back in and put another coat on because it's going to be very light. Remember, dab. You can do brush work like going like that, but I don't particularly like to do it because it doesn't give you enough texture. It doesn't make it as interesting, I don't think. But that's just my personal opinion. You all do it the way you want, how you like to do it. This is the way I like to do it. A lot of bubbles. Gotta get them out of there. And when it's dry, I mean, you can't really see it now, but if you look at it through there, you can tell that it's not very thick. And you'll find places where it didn't really go in there too well. So then you've got to go back in and put another coat on. Of course, if you do it really thin like that, it dries a lot faster. Okay, that's about it. I've only got one more module to do, and that is picture framing. And it's a lot like doing 3D art, except you glue pictures down. Okay?